Hey, this is Jason Morris from Real Estate Agents That Really Work. For a lot of you guys that know me and know me from Facebook and stuff, you guys probably know that I am a big Walking Dead fan. Actually, I like really anything with zombies. Walking Dead is the one TV show that every Sunday night I'm at home. I'm making sure that I am home to watch it. I don't want to miss it. And I want to see it when it comes on. I don't want to watch it later or the second running. I want to see it right when it comes on. So I was thinking about it, and I've got 6 things that real estate agents can learn from The Walking Dead. Number one, you know, there's always going to be somebody that is bigger, that's stronger, that's got more researches and a larger team than you do. We've saw this over and over with Rick and his group in The Walking Dead. They're constantly running into groups, like Negan's group. There was a group when they were at the prison. I mean, they've constantly ran into one group or another that they've had, a bigger team. They've had more resources. They've had more weapons. They've had more of everything. And you know what? It's the same way in the real estate business. I hear agents say it all the time. They go, "Oh, in my office we have so and so, and I can't compete against them." Well, that's the thing is you can. It might suck for a little while. It might suck until you figure it out. If you're running into the same agent over and over when you go on listing appointments. And this has happened to me. You run into the same agent over and over again. That's they dress nicer, they drive a nicer car, or their presentation is better than you, and you just have to figure out. You have to be a little bit smarter than you have to figure out where are they weak. What can you do? Can you be more persistent? Can you say, hey guys, they have a big team. You're never going to talk to them on the phone. Me, you've got my cell phone number. You can call, you can text, you can email, you can message me on Facebook. You've got 100 ways you can get in touch directly with me or with them. You have to go through a phone system and maybe talk to an assistant, even if you talk to somebody. Number two, everything isn't as it seems. At the new season of The Walking Dead, this is a spoiler alert for who hasn't seen the second episode yet, but um, we meet Ezekiel and we go into the kingdom, and the kingdom's beautiful. They got gardens, they've got everything. I mean, Ezekiel's got a tiger. I mean, it's cool. It looks like a great place, and everything is calm, and everybody's they've got their own. Looks like society's coming back together. Everything looks perfect from the outside looking in. And a lot of us, we see other teams and we see offices and other real estate agents, and we look at them, and it's not what it probably seems like. Just you're looking at their numbers and they look enormous. That doesn't mean they're making a ton of money. You don't know what commission rates they're charging. You don't know what their marketing costs are. You don't know what their splits are with their office. You don't really know what source of business, what source that business is coming from, unless you actually ask them. you know, just because they're doing a lot of volume, it doesn't mean they're great marketers. It just means they're doing volume. I mean, I've seen big teams that had 10 or 15 agents that collectively were doing a lot of business, but the guy that was actually running the team, that his name was on the signs, he was only netting like, 5 or 7% of that, So from the outside looking in, you don't know what's going on internally with other agents and their teams. You don't know what their marketing costs are. You don't know what their overhead is. You don't know what their splits are with their team. You don't know what their splits are with their office. Number three, nothing is safe and nothing's sacred. Just like in The Walking Dead, Rick and his group, they thought the prison was going to be a safe place forever. And it turned out it wasn't. Somebody was right around the corner that was looking to take it from them. The strategies that you guys are using today, if you're using Facebook, if you're using Google, if you're using direct mail, whatever it is, making calls, calling expireds. I mean, when everybody got rid of their house phones 6 or 7 years ago, and everybody started getting cell phones, man, that really changed what we were doing with expireds, and it really changed, how many numbers you were getting and how effective you could really be. You know, there's always going to be more competition, and the strategies that you're using today, I promise you, you were not the first person that figured those out. When the market changes, Google changes their algorithm, Facebook changes their algorithm. A year ago, what you're doing right now may not work at all. The property evaluation sites were enormous a year ago. Now the lead cost is kind of outrageous on those. What you're doing now, it might not work 6 months from now. There is no safe strategy. You have to constantly be evolving. You have to constantly be training. You have to constantly work on your mindset. I mean, that's another thing. Just because things are happy today, that doesn't mean you're not going to go through something in life that's going to affect your mindset. Nothing is safe. You have to constantly be working on yourself and your business. Number four, these aren't in any particular order. Number four, everything gets easier with practice and training. If you remember back to season one in The Walking Dead, killing a walker was a big deal. Nobody really knew what these things were. They didn't know how to approach them. They didn't know if these people were alive, if they were dead, what the deal was. Fast forward, a season or two later, it's nothing. It's not a big deal. It's just a normal part of their day in this new world. And Rick and his group, they practiced, they obtained new tools, they obtained new skill sets. They done it over and over and over again until coming in contact with a zombie or walker or whatever you want to call them wasn't really that big of a deal. It was just a normal day in the Walking Dead universe. And real estate's the same way. The day you start calling for sale by owners and expireds, it really sucks. You're going to kind of throw up on the phone. You're not going to know what to say, even if you got your script in front of you. It's just bad, especially if you're looking up your own expired numbers. You don't have any type of dial or anything like that to use. But you know what? You fast forward 60, 90 days, later, you've been consistent, you've been practicing, you've got some new tools, you've got a dialer, you're using RedX, or, you're using ZBuyer or whatever it may be. All of a sudden you get to a point where after 60 or 90 days of using the same script over and over and getting some new tools and a new skill set, it's just not a big day. It's just part of your regular day. You get up and from 8 to 11, you just make calls. The same way Rick and them, they're going out there in the world and they've developed this new skill set. I mean, their skill set just happens to be, killing walkers, not calling expireds, but it's the same idea. You know, Number five, your team is going to change. One thing we've seen in The Walking Dead and we've seen with Rick's group, is the groups constantly change. They've constantly had to evolve. The weaker ones got weeded out in the early seasons. Now we're seeing some of the stronger ones either leaving and going off on their own. They're getting killed, but the team is changing. This season, this is kind of a spoiler alert, but this season, first episode, we saw Abraham and we saw Glenn get killed by Negan. I mean, then we saw that in the last season, Carol decided to leave the group and go off on her own. And we all know that she's a strong person and she's a strong individual, and she's more than capable of handling things on her own. Now I'm not saying your team's going to get killed, but your team's always going to be changing. Your vendors are going to be changing. The attorneys you use, the mortgage people, your buyer's agents, your coaches, your brokers and office managers, your office, probably things that we don't even know about is going to change, and sometimes they're going to change unexpectedly, like in my situation. I've told people about me moving to eXp Realty. I didn't know my broker in charge was going to die. I didn't know that the dynamics of my office was going to change as they hired new people. So I had to make a change, just like The Walking Dead. Now that these two key people are dead, and Daryl is gone with Negan's new group, we're going to see changes within his group and changes within the dynamics. You're going to experience that in your real estate career. You're going to experience mortgage lenders going out of business, attorneys stop doing closings, title companies going out of business, your real estate office going out of business, and sometimes there are going to be things that you're not going to be able to expect. You need to always be prepared for change. Number six, if you're newer to the real estate business, you probably don't know this, but just like in The Walking Dead, there's always a problem. Rick's group has had so many problems, it's just unbelievable. They dealt with every situation imaginable at this point. Yeah, the real estate business is the same way. You will have problems, just like Rick Grimes. We're all in one of three places. You either just got through a problem, you're in the middle of a problem, or you have a problem coming up you didn't even know about. You didn't know that closing, that the buyer was going to go charge up a bunch of furniture on their credit card, 3 days before closing. You didn't know that, the seller had a judgment that was $500,000 and it's a $75,000 house you're selling. You cannot prepare for every single thing in every situation, but there's always going to be problems that you don't even know about and that you don't even know that are coming up. We're all in one of three places. We just got through a problem, we're in the middle of a problem, or another problem's coming up.